Alright, good evening. It is 9 p.m. right now, and here's the forecast for the country. We're also focused on some other parts as well. Also, my area and up in Kansas with the severe weather situation on Saturday. But we always start with our temperature maps. So here are current temperatures across the country at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Just these temperatures about 2 to 3 degrees in some spots, and you might get a better feel for the temperatures at as of 9 p.m. The current temperature right now in my area is about 80 degrees. It's much cooler because we had a front roll through, and we have a short cool down. It's still very humid by the dew points, but at least our temperature is lower. It's been again, it's still humid because of the air mass we're in, but the temperatures are not blazing to the 90s. So we have a much cooler feeling air, just still humid. So basically moist to the south and dry to the north and west, unless you're on the Pacific coast. The current radar right now, we do have some storms that are in Middle Tennessee and northern Alabama. Some of those storms are severe. And we do take a look at the warnings. We had a couple of severe storm warnings in northeast Alabama, in Marshall, DeKalb, and Lawrence counties, I believe. I still had to remember the Alabama counties. We have red flag warning up for parts of the Dakotas and most of Minnesota. Some winter issues up in Michigan with some freeze warnings and watches. And then here was today's forecast. That front has now pushed through Florida. There are a couple storms that are still remaining off the southeast coast near Miami. But as far as the inland effects, they have diminished. We did have a slight risk of severe storms. This has since expired, but had a slight risk of severe storms today. Kind of a bust, but we did also have a slight risk in parts of the Ohio Valley, parts of southern Illinois, southeast Missouri, northeast Arkansas, western Tennessee, and western Kentucky. A couple tornadoes were confirmed in their 2% tornado outlook. Not, a great tornado threat. It was mostly wind and hail that we had to deal with. We had 50% outlook for both of them. And this is tomorrow. It's a very messy pattern as far as fronts go. Ooh, isn't it active? We have a low pressure system in Montana, low pressure system in Michigan, low pressure system in Colorado, in Pennsylvania, and off the North Carolina coast. So just a very active pattern. And the severe weather threat tomorrow actually has all of those out with a marginal risk, because severe weather is also possible along those fronts and around the low pressure systems. So if things are expected to remain marginal, maybe that marginal risk in the Carolinas maybe shifted north. I wouldn't be surprised if that were to occur. I think that is possible. And as far as the wind outlook, there is no tornado outlook. They're all less than 2%, so they will not pop up on the map. 5% wind for all of them, and hail 5% for all of them, except for 5% in southeast New Mexico and western Texas. And this is Saturday, where it could be very busy for parts of the plains, for parts of Kansas, Oklahoma, and Missouri. Maybe even they might shift that slice a little bit farther west to maybe the Colorado border. But severe weather is possible that along the warm front and the dry line, a recipe for severe weather. And I think that once we get to the point, we may see an enhanced risk in that area. Conditions seem quite favorable off the NAM. On both NAM, the regular NAM and the NAM 3K. But of course, we will watch that as it gets close to the slight risk right there. There is a marginal risk for western Kansas, but I do expect them to actually expand that slight risk farther to the west on Saturday. In the probabilistic outlook, we have a 50% significant probabilities in that slight risk. So 50% probability of severe weather with a added significant risk as well. Now let's run through some modeling. So of course this is the current look right now. ish. Those storms again up in, this is not very high res, this is up GFS, but this kind of gives you an idea of where things are. It's more placement than it is anything else. Severe weather taking place, marginal severe weather taking place in northern Alabama, and of course we have those storms off the southeast coast of Florida near Miami. This is tomorrow at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. Severe weather will begin to materialize in North Carolina. They ban the storms approaching the northeast. That will continue to move to the northeast. Possible that there may be a couple of storms in parts of Maryland, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and New York. Could potentially be severe. That's why I'm kind of looking at that. Maybe that marginal risk being extended north, but that's something to watch. And then this is the severe weather day that we'll be watching. I don't have it shown on this map because it's the GFS, but also snow might be materializing in the Rocky Mountains and parts of Idaho and Montana. And then that low pressure system that's causing the severe weather problems, or that may be causing severe weather problems in North Carolina and Virginia, is moving off the coast. 994 low pressure there. Maybe some flurries of snow for parts of Pennsylvania and Mexico. You see those blue spots. That could be the possibility of some snow. But the big snow is going to be in the Rockies. More snow will materialize along the lower 40, or on the 48th parallel. And that would be something to... That might be a significant May snowfall, early May. And we also, towards the end of the GFS, they also indicate the possibility of a big-time snowfall for the Rockies. So that is still, that's towards the end of the month, but who knows? It could or could not materialize. 990 low pressure over near Liberal, Kansas, along the Three Corners area of Colorado, Kansas, and Oklahoma. Snow continues for the northern Rockies. And that system moves off. This is Sunday morning, Sunday at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. Some showers and storms for parts of Indiana, Illinois, Ohio, and Michigan. Maybe Missouri as well on the western edge of that low. And then possibly some snow mixing in for parts of Iowa and Wisconsin, maybe parts of northern Illinois. And then this is Sunday night at 8 p.m. We're going by 8 and 8, or 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. Timestamps here because this is what the model is right now. So the low pressure is sitting around the near the Ohio River along the Ohio-West Virginia border. Still snow continuing in isolated spots in the Rockies, and storms. We'll kind of watch if any of those become severe, but it's not likely. This is Sunday night at 8 p.m. again for parts of. Could see the possibility of strong storms, maybe an isolated severe storm, but again, this is too far out to really determine that. But of course, we will watch the pattern there, and this also as well, big time snow possible. Now, 90 hours out, there might be some good confidence with this. 90 hours out isn't way too far out. This is Monday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. And big time snow could be possible for parts of Colorado, Wyoming, Nebraska, and Kansas, in parts of Idaho and Utah as well. And that snow lingers through the day Monday and continues into the night. And of course it will fade away by Tuesday. And this is Tuesday night. Again, still some snow, but could be rain mixing in there. Some storms possible across Mississippi and Alabama and Georgia Monday night. And then we'll be watching this for the possibility of severe weather. It's not likely at this point. This is 138 hours out. This is beyond the 5-day confidence mark that I kind of had there. If it's anything above 5, if it's anything out farther than 5 days, I kind of receive it as, well, it's probably voodoo. But yeah, definitely something to maybe watch for the possibility of some storms, potentially a couple may be severe, but the pattern as well not looking very great. It doesn't look like a severe weather look to that. And then as we move on, showers possible for parts of the south and up into Missouri, Iowa, and Nebraska. And then those move off. I actually slowed the intervals down to kind of get a more precise look at this. But storms will likely carry on. And then maybe some storms also possible for the Florida Peninsula. Thursday night. This is 1 week from today. And this is Friday morning. That low pressure system sits around the Great Lakes. Some storms are possible off the Atlantic coast. And don't by the way, don't take this exactly. This just gives an idea of what things could be. This is subject to major change, being almost 200 hours out. Now let's take a look at the high resolution NAM, the NAM 3 kilometer, and I have zoomed into where that slight risk area is. There's a slight risk at slight risk at 2 p.m. This is Saturday at 2 p.m. Central. This is 3 p.m. Storms are likely to develop along western Kansas. These are going to be supercell thunderstorms. We can see that. We can see those little gray streaks off the storm. They're very small. Right around there where my cursor is sitting, that's kind of where we could see those storms, and those storms will continue eastward. I think this will remain the greatest. This, at least for this timing, this will be the most likely time for tornadoes. These storms are by themselves. They're in a quite a conducive environment for that. Once the HRRR loads in, I'll start showing soundings on both models. I don't like to look at soundings and kind of give a really good idea until we're less than 2 days out. So, because this stuff you can't really predict, 5, 6, 7 days out. You can, but high resolution models really only go out 2.5 days. So really something to keep an eye on. And then what's going to happen later on, these storms, as we enter into about 11, 12 o'clock that night and that morning, they may be able to go into a squall line type setup, maybe an MCS or some kind of form of a wind threat. As we get late into the night, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, we may see potential for just a strong, damaging wind threat rather than a tornado risk, with a possibility of embedded supercells that could produce weak, isolated tornadoes. And we will watch that. This is waiting for the next 24 hours. The biggest parts are in the Pacific Northwest, near Washington, also off the Carolina coast and up towards the Great Lakes. These next 5 days, we do have heavier rain totals, 2 to maybe up to 3 inches for the Ohio Valley and down also south, and parts of Texas, Arkansas, Louisiana, and Mississippi. Now temperatures. Let's go for the next 7 days, highs and lows. I stuck this to the south because it might get quite interesting here. And this is tonight. We got the front rolling through. It's going to be nicer tonight than it has been the past couple nights. So as far as Central Florida is concerned, mid-60s. I would say north of I-4, lower 60s. Can't speak. Lower 60s. South and east of I-4, upper 60s and lower 70s. Tomorrow, only looking at highs in the mid-80s for majority of Central Florida. And then tomorrow, it could be a nice day to sit outside as long as the mosquitoes are not bugging you. Probably great for fishing. But clearly, a chillier night that night. Looks like it could be colder in Gainesville than it will be in parts of Texas and Louisiana. Interesting. And then the cold doesn't last for long because we are right back into the 80s and 90s on Sunday. Sunday's lows right back where we kind of belong for May. 70s and all that jazz. And then the heat returns on Sunday. Wait, what? Hold up. I meant Saturday. My apologies. Oh, that's why, because that glitched out. So, day 2 minimum. Day 3 maximum. Day 3 minimum. I think that meant to say Monday. Let's see. Yeah, that's interesting. They got the dates wrong. Didn't they? Because that also says Sunday. It's whatever at this point. 90s, what were 90s return? And then on Tuesday, here's where it gets interesting. Tuesday, May 11th. 90s are still in effect, and I actually will show where we could potentially see 100s. Very unusual for May, but it's possible. Here, now we're off to the GFS. So this is the 18Z run of Thursday, May 6th. And this is Tuesday afternoon. This is 1 o'clock Tuesday. Oh, sorry, not 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock Tuesday. And we have temperatures that are sitting in the mid-90s. Now, at this point, the 06Z this morning and the 12Z this morning had temperatures that were approaching 100s. But now they've kind of settled it down. This is Monday. In fact, I actually meant to flip this around, but this is actually Monday. We may have highs approaching 100 on Monday, so we'll kind of watch this, see if we may break that 100. This is real air temperature, and with that humidity, it's going to make it even worse. So we'll watch the possibility for 100s in our area. I'm not saying that excitingly, but it certainly could be that way. Next few days look to be maybe quite stormy. We have a dry line that could be fueling a dry line and a warm front, which is just a recipe for severe weather for parts of Kansas that day on Saturday. So will be a very interesting day to watch. And then snow is also likely in the Rocky Mountains. So that's all for today. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them. And next I'll make a video is likely tomorrow morning or tomorrow afternoon, when we go more in depth on Saturday's severe weather risk, because that will be something to watch. As far as streaming on Saturday, it's very unlikely, depending on timing. If it's later in the night, I'll be able to stream, although if it's during the day Saturday, I will likely not be able to stream. But we'll see what happens with that. So thanks for watching. I will see you all tomorrow with another weather update for the country. Have a great night. Bye bye.